Welcome to Lathe and Loom. I took a little look back at my 2025 knits and I was a little surprised by the results. Grab a cup and a project and let's chat. Hi everyone, welcome to Lathe and Loom. My name is Cher. Thanks so much for stopping by the channel. I want to give a proper shout out to Jen of Jen Loves Yarn, who gave me a really kind mention on her channel the other day. And I know I have some new subscribers from that, so welcome if you're new. Thank you if you're returning. And I'll just say this is not, again, my traditional podcast, so the last couple have been slightly different than my usual format, but we'll resume more or less the normal style going forward into the new year. So Happy New Year to you all. Thought today I would just sit down, give you a quick update on my December making. And also, I've done a little bit of a year in review, not your traditional, I'm not going to try everything on, but just a little kind of summary of the projects, the variety, some things I found surprising, and a little bit about how I'm thinking about 2026. So let's get started. So I guess first I'll do a quick little FOs. So I think probably the most recent finish I had was another Portland cap. So I did also knit a Portland cap and some self-drafted mitts in December. These were a gift. And this one was for me. It is to go with my Islington jumper, and I think here's a quick photo with me wearing both. But here is the result. I really like this. It's a nice, easy knit. I had leftover yarn from my Islington jumper, which I have worn a lot in our cold. We've had quite a bit colder weather for us. Has this very nice cable detail. I moved it up a little further than I did, and I did do a vlog on the gift knit, so I'll refer you back to episode 63 that came out mid-December, where I kind of talked about that a little bit more. But it's just a really easy knit. You cast on, it's a free pattern. You cast on 80 stitches, 2x2 rib. You come on up, you make this cable cross. I wanted to have a contrast cuff, and I knit my cuff longer. All my details are in the Ravelry project page. So I think next time I would I've moved the cable cross up from where it was recommended, and I think I would do that even a little, maybe another inch up. It's just, I mean, you see it. It's not below the brim, but it's close, so you don't probably get as much impact. So anyway, love the yarn. This is Woolstok Tweed, Blue Sky Fibers Woolstok Tweed, and I really like it. It's worn well in the jumper as well, and kind of fun to have a nice a little bit of a matching set there. The other FO that I have with me was the last pair of gift double slippers. This is a pattern by Liv Stangeland, I believe. Put her here. It's the Sandus Yarn double slippers. These were a saga. You'll see I knit, I think, 6 pair of these all together, and I've got the last pair on the needles, which is mine. His is my biggest. I've saved all the men's to the last, but his were the biggest. This is a US men's 14. I just really enjoyed knitting these slippers, I have to say. And I bought the yarn maybe 2 years ago. No, I had bought the yarn at the end of 2024, like in the fall, with a plan to do slippers that I did not do. I ended up knitting one pair for my mom. There is a video, kind of more detail of that. But I enjoyed them. I liked having them on the needles as something a little different. They were really good car knitting when I wasn't driving, obviously. It took me a considerable while to figure out how to felt them in, our new energy efficient top load washing machine. And what I ended up doing was finding the heavy duty cycle, low water volume. I threw in a pair of old jeans I'd cut up into took the legs off, so I had 3 pieces. Regular laundry detergent and hot water as my washer would go. And I think every one of them, I took 3 cycles like that. I mean, obviously some of them I did together, so more volume in there. But 3 seemed to do the trick, even on his. This is a little bit modified. It's bigger than the Sanduskarn pattern goes. But I did put all my notes in my Ravelry project page. I would totally knit them again. And I will say, I was delighted with how well these were received by all the recipients. So, I all ages, my kids, our daughter-in-law, my father, my mom had already had a pair. So, yeah, super pleased with this. This colorway is Forest Brown. They were all knit with Briggs & Little Regal 2-ply, and I would totally use it again. I enjoyed it. I've got some now, somewhere between, I think with my husband's, I had very little left, or actually hardly any left of but I still got it under 2 skeins. My son's, I had a little ball left, which were different brown. All of them are in my Ravelry pages. My daughter and daughter-in-law, I had probably maybe a half a skein and the second one left. I expect that with mine. So I'm thinking about doing something like maybe the Leith cardigan or some kind of striped yoke sweater or something with all the leftovers. I really, really liked using that Briggs & Little Regal yarn. I've used that quite a lot this fall between that and the stocking knit along. So, but anyway, so that's a little bit. I feel like there was one other recent FO. Let me check my notes. I did do some notes here. Oh, and I did a Stay Toasty scarf for my mom. So that was a gift knit. So here is a photo here of its little croissant. I will say so I've knit the Simple Thing by Marina Brell, which is very like the Sophie scarf. It's a free pattern, very well written. She has a good tutorial on how to get it started as well. I like that pattern fine. I just don't really enjoy garter stitch, and you'll see that with one of my long-term whips. So when Kudavakika came out with the Stay Toasty scarf, it's kind of caught my eye, and then when I was looking for something to do for my mom, I knit this with Queensland collection. Gosh, I don't remember it's the cashmere, merino, I think it's merino cashmere silk, maybe. I'll put that information here, and it's on my Ravelry project page as well. I did like this pattern. She does have, again, a tutorial to help you get started. I liked it because it's a 6-row repeat, and I can tell where I am in the increases and decreases, and I had trouble with that with the garter stitch. I mean, I was using a stitch marker, but I just found this, with that 6-row repeat, really easy to, finish the section, take a break, or, I'm going to sit down here and knit 5 sections or whatever, and clear ways to count. I did not use quite the whole skein of yarn. Anyway, my mom liked it. I bought myself some Issachar silk mohair and I think Issachar alpaca to knit myself one as well. So that'll be a future project. But so that's a little bit of what I got up to in December. If you missed it, I did do a vlog, as I said, on the Portland cap and mitts that I knit for my sister. So if you want to kind of get a little more insight to that's kind of what I got up to in December. Hope you all had time to watch some Vlogmases. That's sort of why I did not post in December. I think tends to get lost. So, just good time to take a little bit break, but I'm ready to get back. I sort of miss talking to y'all every week. So anyway, I want to, and I've got some notes, so I'm going to glance over at my computer a little bit, but I wanted to talk about what I found in when I kind of looked back at my knits and reviews. So I looked back through my Ravelry project pages. I did find one project that was not in there, so I did add that in. In total, I did 33 projects, and I'm just really only knitting crochet, and I do have my machine knitting in there. 32 of those were knit, and one was crochet. The crochet project was the float tote, which is a project by Nitty Natty. I'm actually I used it for all of my slippers. It was great for that project. And I found when I think I had that one and the Stay Toasty on the go. I had room to put them both in there, and it was just nice to sort of keep them out and move them around. It's been good in the car. So that is a fun crochet pattern. She has really good tutorials on that as well. So if you're new to crochet or have never crocheted a bag, I highly recommend the float tote and the tutorials that accompany that. So when I looked at all of my projects, I was really surprised. If you'd asked me what my knitting year was like, and I hadn't looked, I would have said, "Oh, I really focused on garments in 2025. Feel like I got a fair amount done." And mainly gifts for myself, or mainly knits for myself. I'm not a gift knitter. When I looked back though at the variety of projects, I was really surprised at the variety. It was not mainly garments. And in fact, I had 14 gift knits. Now I did do some slippers in there, so I kind of knew that, but it was more than double what I did in the slippers. So that I found really surprising. So from a variety of knit standpoint, and pardon me, I'm going to have to kind of glance over, I did 6 hats. That includes 2 of the Portland cap, a stocking pip beret by Albiona McLaughlin, and 2 machine knit hats called the Hattie, and the Harlow Flip, which is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. I did 3 pullovers that included the Moynier and Stangeland, both by Albiona McLaughlin, and the Traveler hoodie, which I'm wearing today. I'll stand up in a minute. I did 1 cardigan, the Crumpet cardigan by Park Williams. Love that knit, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. I did 3 tanks or tees. So the Breezeway tee, which is a pattern I knit before, I will knit again. Love that. I did a Lusk tee, which is a pattern by Rebecca Clow, and Sabai number 2, which is a pattern by Susan Muller. That was a really successful knit as well. I did 2 slipovers, did the Cutting Edge vest, another pattern by Albiona McLaughlin. I guess I should have done a category for the designer I knit the most from, and I think it would be, with hands down, Albiona McLaughlin. And then I did the Alchemist slipover, which is a pattern by Wool and Pine Designs. I did 3 small scarves. So I did a Simple Thing, that was a gift knit. I did the Stay Toasty, and I finished my Buracal. I'll talk about that in a minute. I did 2 blankets. One was a hybrid knit where I did the middle of the blanket on the knitting machine, and I hand knit the Hap shawl border. And then I finished off the Habitation Throw, which is a pattern by Helen Stewart. Talk about that a little bit more in a minute too. And then I did 4 kind of other category that I just lumped together. One was the Arnie and Carlos stocking cowl. I did an emotional support chicken. I did the float tote that I mentioned by Nitty Natty, and then I knit my tea cozy, which I have an episode for if you'd like to take a look at that. So I think that is 4 Albiona patterns. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4 Albiona patterns. And then I knit the Portland cap twice. I have also knit the stockinette beret more than once, but not in this year. So I was apparently not super great about capturing the amount of yarn in all of my projects. I have 17 projects that I have the yarn amounts listed in Ravelry, and that comes to 9,148 yards. That does not include the blankets. It actually, I don't think it included most of the slippers, so I would say that number is probably, you know, that very, very light, maybe even half. But that would have been interesting. I kind of wish I had that date. I did not know it actually tracked it that way, so that would have been fun to see. My most worn knit is my traveler hoodie. So this is, again, patterned by Andrea Mowry. If I didn't already, I'll pop a photo in. I love this. It's knit in Ramagarn. It is a beast to knit, I will say. My son has requested one for his birthday knit. I have the yarn purchased. I am going to try to do the body of his on the knitting machine to give myself a little bit of a leg up. We'll see how, hopefully that will go well. But I will say it is definitely worth the effort. I wear it a lot. You know, when it's chilly, you know, I just want an extra layer. You know, it's definitely a casual style knit. I do use the hood, you know, when I go out and it's chilly, so I've definitely used it. This the Ramagarn is held up very, very nicely. So all the details of that are in my Ravelry project page. So I would say that is my most worn finished object of 2025. My, let's call it most fun knit, or it's really the knit that makes me feel like the most accomplished as a knitter, is the Crumpet Cardigan, which is a pattern by Park Williams. It's not a difficult knit. It's a 4-row repeat, as I recollect, in the lace. I knit it with a wool bamboo blend that I really enjoyed. And it just feels very finished. I feel like it, so I paired it with the Sabai top in the same yarn. I had really special buttons that I had purchased with the intent of doing one of the green. I didn't knit bought a number of celery green types of summer yarn last year with the intent to do a cardigan with one of them. And I love how it turned out. I feel very kind of dressed when I wear it. I think is something that I'm really proud of as a knitter. So that was, I guess, my most fun knit. I would definitely recommend the pattern. I have 2 projects that I'm calling longest on the needles, and that is the Burgundy, which is a pattern by Marie Wallen. I talked about this on and off through the podcast as I was knitting it. I kind of hibernated it for a really long time. I don't know, it just didn't keep my interest. It wasn't that it was a difficult knit. I think my colorwork style changed a lot from the first, you knit it, I think you knit the repeat 4 times. I think I changed the needle size I was knitting it in the round. I changed the way that I hold my yarn over that period of time. So by the end, the last part went really quickly, and I actually relatively enjoy it. So I don't know what took me so long to get it done. It just was one of those projects that just sort of lingered and maybe wasn't a high priority knit for me. Maybe that was part of it. But anyway, glad to get it off the needles. Probably won't be knitting another one. And then the other one was the Habitation Throw by Helen Stewart. This probably was the longest project. I talked a little bit about that when I cast it off. It was something that, you know, I would knit in the background, and it just sat for a really long time, and I finally was like, all right, I got to get this thing done. I knit it with scraps, different and minis, as a magic knot ball. It was a gift knit for a friend for a grandbaby. I was so happy to get it sent before the second grandbaby arrived, and it is getting well loved and used. So went to a very knit-worthy home, which makes me really happy. So it's a nice blanket pattern. I really don't think I'm a blanket knitter. It's part of the issue there. But if I was going to look to do something again, it's a nice kind of easy rhythmic one to have. Again, it's garter stitch. I just am not a huge garter stitch fan. I think that's a recurring theme with a number of my knits that tend to drag on. I have 12 whips that I'm carrying into 2026, and then 4 that are hibernating. I'll talk about the hibernating knits on another episode that I'll do like a frog or finish. But the 12 that I'm carrying into 2026, I've got the Crochet Battenberg blanket. That's a pattern by Sandra Paul. That's just one, not really an avid crocheter. It's nice when I pick it up. I don't think of it very often, although my daughter bought me the cutest little notions pouch that I'm probably going to use to pop that in my to-go bag. The Richmond Hill pullover is another one that I've got. I have that here, as a matter of fact. This one is just waiting for me to make a decision on the sleeves. So I talk about it, I don't know, probably back in the fall. I've knit most of it. At the last time I tried on this transition is a little snug on my arm. And I really just need to make a decision about what to do with it. I mean, you can even see, again, my color work pulls in just enough on not the leanest part of my arm. I think I'm going to try it on again, obviously. I just want to give it some time. I think the answer is I need to do some sweater surgery, pick up some stitches, cut the sleeve off, knit another inch or so down, and then just finish off whatever length of the sleeve is left. And then I'll have a really nice sweater. I need to get it done. So I have another knit that I really want to get cast on. I'm kind of telling myself, nope, until that's done, you got what you got. The Phoebe top, which is a pattern by Amy Cher. I will finish, but probably not till towards the summer. It's just a cabled tank. I enjoy knitting on it, which is not a high priority at the moment. I have the Harris Tap Hood. It's a pattern by Gudrun Johnston. I'm about to here, so I just have to do the top half of the hood part itself, and then if it's seamed or 3-needle bind off. So it's mostly done. Again, it's garter stitch. That's more or less why it's languishing. I also have found that even though it's not something that I need to look at a pattern, it's not something I can knit in the car, which is kind of initially what I thought it would be good for. I find that, I think it's the way I knit. Garter stitch, I tend to pick up that extra leg from the stitch below, and so I have to be able to look at it more, which in the car I kind of like to have something I don't have to look at. So that's just sort of why that one's dragging. I've got 2 pairs of socks that I started when I was doing some heel sock exploration with Knitty Natty's Love and Stitches group. So I need to finish them up, and I'll talk a little bit. I would like some more socks this year. I'm knitting the Vogue 1961 cabled classic V-neck for my dad. I've talked about this in a couple of episodes, and I will next week as well when I do my whip review. So this is going well. I'm really happy with it. I am almost done, maybe a little more than half of the third repeat. I need 4 repeats till I get to the sleeve split. Sleeves are knitted flat, so I'm going to do them 2 at a time. I I don't know why, but I've suddenly keyed on that the sleeves are knitted flat and seamed, which is probably okay, but they're a seamed set-in sleeve. So, oh, I just hope I'm just not the best seamer. I really, that's going to be something to conquer. But I would really like to get that done in January, early February, to get home before it's too hot in Virginia again to wear any wool ever. I'm knitting on the PS shawl. I started that in December. This is a pattern by Albiona McLaughlin. It's a knit in the round. It's a very interesting construction. So it'll end up being a double layer. And I'm sort of using all of my Whispering Pines hand and mill spun wool, soft Shetland wool to sort of showcase that. And so that is going really well. That's just sort of like a cozy comfort knit. Doesn't require a whole lot of thought to it. I've got 2 machine knit projects in there to go. The Eves jumper that I'm swatching for, and stride trousers I've talked about on the prior episode. So have more to come as I work through those projects. I'm really excited about the Eves jumper because this is a yoke Fair Isle pattern sweater pullover is going to give me a lot of, I think, flexibility once I kind of get that down. I'm really kind of struggling more with the idiosyncrasies. No, I'm really struggling more with the quirks of my machine than the technique itself. So just it's a learning curve for sure. I have 1 pair of the double slippers that is my pair that's last. Everybody else's was done. My husband's was done Christmas Day. I really just started mine a couple days ago, but I've got about a quarter of it done. So those should be pretty quick. And then as my kind of Christmas-ish cast on, I cast on the Wintering. This is a pattern by Alicia Plummer. I just wanted another kind of throw on over everything and anything jumper. This came out about the time that I also was able to snag a bag of Chistari wool on sale. So that's the same yarn that my antler pullover that I wear really daily, year-round, kind of like a sweatshirt over my pajamas or whatever. So I wanted another one that could leave the house. But it's held up super well, so I'm happy about that. So that's kind of the whips that I'll carry into 2026. And then last for this video, just sort of, I don't really make knitting firm plans or make 9 or any of the things you typically see, but I did sort of think about loosely what I want to accomplish in my knitting goals this year. And that would be to, finish up the whips. Most of the whips I have are not long-term ones, so I don't really think that's any problem. I do have to figure out what to do with those hibernating projects. Again, I think most of them will end up being finished. I got to make a decision on one that I kind of know in my heart I don't have any interest in. I would like more cardigans. I love that crumpet cardigan. Just even that weight, that style is really good. So I'll have to be thoughtful about, part of the year I can use heavier ones, but I do need some lighter weight, layers for when we're in air conditioning season, which is like 10 months out of the year, I feel like. The more socks. So since I stopped working my office day job, where I wore black ankle socks all the time, I love my hand knit socks. I like them with my farm boots. I like them with my tennis shoes. I have shorty socks. I've explored this last pair I hand knit, how to get the leg so I can have a taller boot sock. I just really, really like the hand knit socks. I kind of get that. I'm not really an avid sock knitter, so I would like to use my knitting machine to my circular sock machine to much more advantage to try to get, some socks built up. Ideally, I'd love to do like at least a pair a month. I think that would be a nice goal, particularly with the CSM, because it's only a few hours really, and helps me hone those skills. I'd like to continue my machine knitting learning journey. I did sign up for another membership. This will be my second year with the machine knitting community. I will leave that information and the resources in the show notes. Also, there is a current video, and I'll put that down there, on kind of what the learning plan is for the community for this year. That is out on YouTube for public viewing. It's just a really good supportive community, tons of resources. I'm learning a lot. I really just need to kind of figure out the quirks of my machine. I'd like to do a little more weaving. I have some plans for that once the mill is up and running, so we'll talk about that on a future episode. And I have a number of sweater quantities of yarn in stash with patterns in my queue. That'll be a whole other episode, but I really would like to, as I said, I got a lot of enjoyment from getting my slipper knitting done out of stash, so that will give me some projects both that I really want and free up a little space that hopefully I won't have to move. So probably more to come on that. So that is kind of my year in review and how I am thinking about my 2026 plans. Next week's video, I'll probably go through the whips and the frog or finish decisions. And then we'll get on a much more regular kind of standard podcast format. So again, if you're new, thank you so much for coming by the channel, and hope to see you again. Welcome you all to look back at some of the projects that I talked about in the back catalog. If you have questions on any of it, details are on my Ravelry page, but I really appreciate and love the engagement in the comments section, or you can post your stuff in the YouTube community section, or again, I'm available via email as well. So with that, I will wish you happy knitting, spinning, dyeing, and weaving. Bye, y'all.